for me, there does seem to be a very, very natural fit where we're bringing in veterans who are, as you touched on, older than some of their peers, have more life experience than many of their peers, and have some natural inherent leadership skills.
Hmm.
So that's the way I'd like to kind of focus on is, first of all, I suppose the question would be, and forgive me, half of this is me constantly processing it because I think it's such an important point. I suppose the first question I would ask is, what do you see as the leadership skills that can be translated from military into the private enterprise? And how can we, as service organisations, whether it be in manufacturing, aviation, defence, whichever, how can we harness those and can we build programs that accelerate those as well?
Yeah, I hope I haven't come across as too negative on
No.
the potential for service people to be leaders in the military people to be leaders in the service industry, because properly trained, I absolutely 100% believe that they're going to be some of your best leaders in the service industry. Properly trained being the key words there. And let me give you an example, and this is a generational example, and I'm going to sound like a boomer here, but so forgive me for that when I say this. I had a very smart, promising 20-something engineer who worked for me that I saw great future ability to develop. Uh, and I had a conversation with that person. It was a he, and I said to him, "Hey, look, I think you've got a great future in the company. I think I'd like to help you develop a little bit and stretch your responsibilities a little bit, and because I think that you could have my job one day, right? That's how much potential I see in you." And his response, I'll never forget. It still shocks me. To this day, it shocks me. His response was, "Mm, no, thank you. I'm not really interested in more work. I'm perfectly happy where I am. And I'm not interested in more money. I'm, I got my apartment. I'm happy with my life." It's like, I don't think I graduated from university in 1979. In my entire life, and this was probably 2019 when I heard this, in my entire life through 2019, I never heard a young person say, "No, thank you, I'm good. I don't, I have no interest in being in management." It was like there was this hunger. And by the way, if he was a one-off, if he was the only one who responded this way to my approaching him, a person for increased potential opportunity, I wouldn't even be talking about this, Kris. But he wasn't. It was a phenomenon, not a person. There were several people in this age group that kind of expressed the same sentiments. It's like they never lacked for anything in their life. So being is having understanding that there might be some future state where they're unemployed and unemployable or whatever never occurred to them. Whereas people of my generation were mostly always hungry. They wanted some kind of job and always looking for opportunities. And it was a different problem than I had ever faced in my career up to that point in time. And let me just say this: I never had that same conversation with a former military person, where the former military person said, "No, thanks, I'm good, I'm happy. I've got, my." No, they were all, "Oh, really? You think I have more potential? Wow, yeah, let's talk about how that can happen." So that's something I think that employers need to understand is there may be, a generational issue where you may have to deal with the question of how do we train our future managers differently for one generation than you do for others. It had always been true, even in the 2000s, let's say 2006, 2007, 2008, that when I approached somebody, they were eager for a better job, more money. And in the 2010, late teens and 2020s, that may not be true anymore. So that's a real fact issue. What I would also say is that the best way to develop those traits that will lead to a hunger for future, employability and management opportunity is to help the employee experience little successes, not great leaps, but little successes where they can see, oh, wow, I had that little extra bit of assignment and that went really well. Wow, maybe I can, take a little more and a little more and a little more. Because sometimes I used to love giving employees what we all refer to as stretch assignments. I'm going to give you this job. I know you may not be quite ready for it, but I think you can do it. It's going to require some effort. And maybe 70% of the time they succeeded, and 30% of the time they did. But those 30%, they fell hard. They fell hard. And maybe a smarter approach might have been a little stretch, not a big stretch assignment. So you avoid that 30% who fall hard.